This is an image of the Yellowstone supervolcano. In the next 600,000 years, it'll probably erupt again and cover the whole western United States in ash. But right now, it's not actually going to kill us all. That doesn't mean we shouldn't take it seriously, though, because it absolutely will kill a lot of us. So let's talk about how bad things could get if Yellowstone erupted tomorrow. And also, by the way, don't worry, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's me, and this is the channel. We're just a couple weeks removed from a pretty big volcanic eruption over in Tonga, an archipelago nation in the Indian Ocean. You might have seen some videos of that one where it was the first time in recorded human history that we saw a space object impact a planet and also record it with a camera in space. It was pretty neat, though it wasn't the end of the world, more like the beginning of a few million tiny inconveniences. In fact, most volcanic eruptions aren't the end of the world either. Most of them are small and localized and do relatively little damage. The big ones are called supervolcanic eruptions, and they can do real damage. It's estimated that there have only been 6 supervolcanic eruptions in the last 2 million years, but their effects can be felt across the entire globe. Yellowstone is one of 3 places in the world where magma chambers exist below the Earth's crust that are hot enough and big enough to cause a super eruption. This is why it's so famous. A super eruption at Yellowstone would carry devastating consequences for anyone within hundreds of miles, maybe even thousands of miles of the park. But it wouldn't be the end of the world unless you live in New Zealand. According to geologists, the world is currently overdue for a super eruption at Yellowstone. There is no doubt that it will happen again in the next 500,000 years or so. It just so happens that we're living in what is called the Holocene epoch, which is a period of relative peace and quiet for Yellowstone. For the last 11,700 years, the volcano has been sleeping. But before that, it had a history of napping. Yellowstone erupts about every 600,000 years, and each eruption leaves behind a layer of ash that allows scientists to determine when an eruption occurred. Radiocarbon dating of these layers shows that the last 3 eruptions were around 640, 136, and 288 million years ago. If we assume that the pattern continues, then the next eruption is overdue. And since we're living in the middle of a quiet period, that means we're safe, right? Well, maybe not safe, but we're definitely not going to die, at least not tomorrow. The reason we know that is simple. Scientists monitor the volcano constantly. They have thousands of instruments that measure seismic activity, ground deformation, and heat flow, among other things. And so far, none of those instruments are showing any signs of unrest at the volcano. Seismic activity is low, ground deformation is minimal, and temperatures are steady. So while we're certainly overdue for an eruption, there's no evidence that one is imminent. But let's say there was. Let's say tomorrow morning the seismometers started rattling, the ground started rumbling, and steam started pouring out of the Yellowstone caldera. What would happen then? Well, first, everyone within 200 miles would need to evacuate immediately. That includes everyone living in the immediate vicinity of the park, as well as people in cities like Idaho Falls, Boise, Billings, and Rapid City. For anyone who lives in a city that might fall within that 200-mile radius, here's what you should do. First, find a gas mask. If you already have one, great. If you don't, then go to your local hardware store and buy a respirator with a particulate filter. Then pack an emergency bag with food, water, and other supplies that you can use for 2 weeks. Also grab some duct tape, plastic sheeting, and rubber gloves. You're going to need those. Once you've done all that, you should leave town immediately and drive as far away from Yellowstone as possible. Don't try to fly away because airports would be shut down almost immediately. You can't go west because ash would be raining down over the entire Pacific Northwest. So that means heading east or south. If you're in eastern Montana, then head south towards Wyoming or Colorado. If you're in Idaho, head south towards Nevada or Utah. Wherever you go, make sure you bring lots of water and stay away from windows. If the eruption is large enough, ash could rain down over a huge swath of the United States. People who live further away could still face serious health problems if they don't take precautions. Here's what you should do if you're further than 200 miles away from Yellowstone when it erupts. Stay indoors and seal your house. Use the duct tape, plastic sheeting and rubber gloves to make your house as airtight as possible. Turn off fans and air conditioners and cover up ventilation shafts. Also, fill your bathtub with water. You'll need this water to flush toilets. Make sure you boil the water first, though, because it's likely that the water supply will be contaminated with ash. Then put on your respirator and keep it on until officials say it's safe to come outside again. If you have a fireplace, you should use it because it can help draw ash out of your house through the chimney. When outside conditions are safer, you're going to want to wear your respirator the entire time you're outside. You'll also want to wet down and scrape off any ash that accumulates on your roof or yard. On the plus side, after a week or so, the air quality will probably improve dramatically, and you can start venturing outside without your respirator. On the downside, the ash is going to smell really bad for a long time. Some parts of the US will experience more ash and more intense fallout than others. Areas that are closer to the volcano and lower in elevation will get hit the hardest. Ash clouds will move with the wind, so the entire country will get some amount of ash, but it won't be equally distributed. So if you're planning to bug out to safer areas, think carefully about where you're going. Going higher in elevation can help, as can going further east. Whatever you do, avoid major highways and thoroughfares because they'll be clogged with people trying to flee the area. And whatever you do, don't try to drive through ash clouds. The weight of the ash can damage your engine. Most of the damage from a Yellowstone super eruption would occur during the first few days. After that, the skies would clear and life would return to normal mostly. If you're wondering how long it would take before things return to normal, the answer is different for different parts of the country. Close to the volcano, it could take months or years for the ash to stop falling and for the land to recover. Further away, it could take weeks for the skies to clear. But once they do, you should be able to go back to your regular routine mostly. But it wouldn't be entirely normal. Crops would fail across the United States because ash had contaminated the soil, and there would be shortages of food and water everywhere. Even if the eruption didn't release all that much ash, the economic disruption would be severe. The stock market would plummet, and unemployment would skyrocket. A medium-sized eruption at Yellowstone could affect the weather worldwide for up to 2 years. Global temperatures would drop, and precipitation would be severely reduced. There's a chance that a really bad eruption at Yellowstone could cause a nuclear winter, though scientists disagree on whether that's actually possible. So let's not do that. While it might be possible for humans to survive a Yellowstone super eruption, the same cannot be said for most of our crops and livestock. Food shortages and famines would likely occur throughout the northern hemisphere, leading to global chaos and probably war. It would be very bad, and it would probably result in widespread death. We would lose millions of cattle and pigs and chickens and also billions of insects. Plants would suffer too. Crops across the United States would be ruined, and so would most wild plants. While some types of plants might benefit from the extra carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, overall, the balance of ecosystems would be completely disrupted. There would be massive die-offs of both plants and animals, but evolution would quickly kick into gear. Survivors would reproduce and repopulate the Earth, and eventually, life would return to normal. We'd probably have a few more volcanoes to thank for the extinction of several species of beetle and frog and bird. We'd also have them to thank for the extinction of several human civilizations. A super eruption at Yellowstone could collapse society as we know it. The dust would block the sun, crops would fail, the economy would tank, and then the wars would begin. Surviving humans would be forced to band together and rebuild. Maybe we'd learn our lesson and stop burning fossil fuels. Maybe we'd become smarter and stronger as a species. Maybe we'd build back better. Maybe. Or maybe we'd just do the same stupid stuff and doom ourselves all over again. We don't know what would happen if Yellowstone erupted tomorrow, but we do know that it won't. It's just not going to happen anytime soon. And while that's good news for us, it's bad news for people who like doomsday scenarios. So to them, I'd like to apologize because Yellowstone is not going to blow up tomorrow. It's not even going to blow up this year. Chances are it won't blow up in our lifetimes. But hey, if you want to hear about something that will definitely happen eventually, check out our video on how the sun will destroy the Earth. Thanks for